Alright, this is round 4 for this critique. We're going to start off with Vanessa's work, and this is uh, Japanese fluffy pancakes. So it looks like we're looking at her denotative version right here. So everything looks pretty simple and straightforward, easy to read top to bottom. But I think let's try to bring in a little bit more organization in terms of how we break up the page. So this is good in terms of how we're reading things on the page, but let's try to avoid being too close to the edge with certain areas of the words and relationship of the page. I don't think we need this border because remember, we're doing things typographically for this assignment. I would still rethink how we're placing the text of the title in comparison to the rest of the information on the page, and just see how we can use certain areas to align things a certain way. So that would be my feedback for you for your denotative. For your connotative, I'm wondering if there's something we can do about how this is being read, because it seems like we're placing things a little bit randomly on the page, and we're using this layering approach maybe a little bit too undeliberately. We're losing some of that readability here. So I'm wondering if there's another way for you to approach your connotative version. So I would just rethink some of this over here in terms of what's going on with the layout of your page and exactly why are we doing some of those moves, like, and what's the relationship between Japanese fluffy pancakes and this layering over the text going on here. So there needs to be a specific reason and intention as to why we're doing certain things like that and what movements we're doing with the type that relate to our concept. So I would say rethink some of the areas that you're layering the text that cause a difficulty in reading, and why we're putting things on specific angle. Not really sure why, but that would be some of my feedback, is really kind of tone down on some of those moves and also see how you can organize things on the page a little bit more cohesively. I hope this helps, but I think in general your denotative seems very easy to read, and we can just bring some of that in here in terms of how easy things are being read, but we just want to make sure that the expression of the typography on your connotative approach is still just as easy to read, but also maintains that sense of expression of what it means to make Japanese fluffy pancakes, and that we're being a little bit more intentional with our layout. Okay. Then we go to Matt's work. So this is his denotative, the jalapeno margarita, and the connotative. So Matt, I think this is good. Remember, we're not bringing in any illustrations whatsoever. We're doing this specifically in typography. So I think it's good that we maintain our levels of read. So we have 1, 2, 3 levels of read here. It'd be nice to see maybe like a pull quote somewhere, um, and just kind of focus more on that for your layout. But I think overall it's definitely an easy read for a recipe card. I would definitely see if there's something else we can do just to kind of add more visual interest to your layout. Maybe there's something on this side over here. Maybe the recipe calls for some of the ingredients could be here, and then the other half could be right here, just to create a little bit more balance and just have a little bit more interest. And maybe there's something with jalapeno margarita we kind of play around with in terms of how we're using that title on the page. And I think your directions are pretty simple and straightforward. And let's see if there's like a pull quote we can bring to the layout. And for your connotative, I would say it's interesting how you're also starting to do some different effects for your type with jalapeno. I'd see if there's a way to kind of eliminate some of this space right here, and bring in maybe the directions to flow this way, just so that we're bringing in some kind of unity for your layout. Because right now we definitely see jalapeno first, then directions, just based on the color in which you're using, and then margaritas, kind of like a second read based on the background that we're using and the green. So those kind of mesh together, they kind of blend in. So see if there's something you can do that's a little bit more consistent with the levels of reading that you're creating. And just overall, let's use less, I would say more space around your text. I would say the same would go over here. There's a little bit more space around your text here, but I think here you're getting a little too close to the bottom and also too close right here. So some areas can move more towards the center or they can go a little bit smaller. I hope this helps in terms of what you should be doing for your next round, just to kind of tweak things a little bit more and to create a little bit more intention with how you're using color on the layout. If you have any questions in general, class, you can always email me. I'm available for any of those types of small questions and anything that doesn't make sense. But what we're doing in general is we're taking our assignments and we're just recreating an understanding based on the lecture I gave of how to create more intentional levels of hierarchy and how to use things such as scale, color, positioning on the page with more intention. I hope this makes sense and this helps, and I hope you find this beneficial. Thank you.